Hello! Happy Oscar Nominations Day. This is Screen Junkies Universe, and we're going to talk about all of the Oscar things if we have time. We're also going to discuss the forthcoming year's Oscar nominee in Clue, the movie. I'm Roth Cornet. Jay Washington is here with us today.
Morning. It's
Hello,
early.
thank you.
Thank you for Espresso, and I'm here with all these Oscar nominations.
Jay, it's like 11.
It's early.
Just to be
It's early.
fair.
It's still early. Don't you judge me.
Jay was at the Laugh Factory till 3 a.m. working.
Spencer Gilbert.
Roth, I haven't slept since 2 days ago, just in anticipation of this list of Oscar
Were you up at
nominees.
5 a.m.?
I was up at 4 a.m. to get this, and it's all my dreams have come true.
Oh, excellent. We're going to talk about all of that. Joe Starr.
I had to wrangle a cat to the vet, so I'm very awake. Very awake!
Cats are hard to wrangle. Did she scratch you?
No, he just shouted a lot. But
Oh,
the
it's a
zipper
boy.
broke. That was fun. On the
Yeah.
cat.
On your
there.
cat?
Yeah, my cat's zipper broke. And all of his stuff. It's a stuffed cat. The doctors won't trust me with real animals yet.
Yeah.
And so you took it to a vet.
Yeah.
Not Doc McStuffins.
Yeah, it's like Lars and the real cat.
Sad Calvin and Hobbes.
Yes, saddest Calvin and Hobbes.
Okay.
I don't know. It's
Over.
maybe my favorite, Calvin and Hobbes. Lars and the Real Cat.
Yeah.
Dan Murrell.
I actually did 100% not ironically get up at 5:30 this morning to watch the
Wow,
nominees.
bravo.
It's great that they announce all of them now, because there's nothing like the 10-minute nomination that used to be going to a 30-minute nomination with a commercial break in the middle that didn't have commercials. I don't know why. I mean, it's great that the technical categories got their spotlight, but as someone who got up at 5:30, I did miss getting like 6 nominees and read the list and go to bed.
All
They
right.
went through all of them.
You had to
5:30.
sit up and watch all of them.
That is,
You binged it.
5:20.
that's
it was actually.
commitment.
Yeah.
Yeah, I slept right through my alarm and got up at 7:40, and then I did my yoga. That's our mornings. Let's talk about the Oscar nominations. So let's highlight some of the larger stories out of this, and then we can look at the categories, some of the bigger categories in full, if you like. Surprises. Happy surprise for many is that Logan was included, got best
Movie ever made. It
Best
got nominated
Yeah,
for Best Movie
there's
ever
a-
made.
There's
Right?
a new category.
History of movies.
That was a new twist too. Brand
Best
new category.
movie featuring man fighting younger version of self.
Yes.
With old octogenarian who curses him out a lot.
Yes.
Yes.
I love that movie, but I also like making fun of how much people love that movie.
Yeah, it's both really good and overrated at the same time.
Yes.
Well, it was nominated
good.
for Best Adapted Screenplay.
I said it was really good.
I don't think it's overrated.
Okay.
I don't think it's overrated either.
This is the first comic
This
movie.
side of the table is going to
To
fight
get
that side of the
close,
table.
yeah, to get this close in nominations.
This is the first comic movie to ever be nominated for a writing award. Dark Knight wasn't nominated for a writing award.
We thought Deadpool would get nominated last year, remember? And it didn't.
Yeah.
So,
So this is kind of the first time that comic movies. It's in the It's also in the adapted screenplay category, which is when you look at it. It's. I mean, that's how they submitted it, as we have adapted it from this source material. So it is the first time that the genre has gone into the writing.
It is a really good
Academy's
adaptation of
recognized
Old
that.
Man Logan, but I want to see inbred Hulk babies on the big screen.
Otherwise,
Yes.
no Oscars.
We don't-
I could see the argument. I would have nominated Patrick Stewart for Best Supporting, and I could see an argument for Hugh Jackman getting a Best nom in the same way that like Return of the King got
Yeah.
a Best Picture nom for it's done. This is its curtain call that was his, and
Daphne
give him a
King
nod.
should have got a nomination, in my opinion, for that. Her role as Laura Kinney was amazing. To be silent the majority of the film and
still
convey all
carry
that
it really
emotion.
well.
Yeah, she carried it well. So,
Well,
I'm glad Logan got something.
it's a
Yeah.
pretty
Yes.
it's a pretty tough year for
this
nominations.
is
So let's
true.
look at that field. That Logan is going against The Disaster Artist, Call Me by Your Name, Molly's Game, and Mudbound. Make your guesses now, people. My guess, honestly, because Molly's Game wasn't nominated elsewhere, and it's Aaron Sorkin, I feel like that one. What do we think?
This is
I
adapted
would go
screenplay?
Sorkin's one.
Yeah.
He got his Oscar. He won for Social Network. So I don't think there's really any sentimental thing there. I would probably guess Call Me by Your Name, because that's a movie that was a little underrepresented in a lot of other categories, which we'll talk about as far as acting nods. And I don't think it's going to win Best Picture. It wasn't nominated for Best Director. And I think that if the Academy is going to kind of nod toward that movie anywhere, it's going to be in this category. By the way, it's also a beautifully written film. It would be my vote for favorite screenplay of the year, adapted or not adapted. So I suspect they might go that way for Call Me by Your Name, but it's really, those are 5. You can't go wrong, I don't think, with those nominees. It's 5 great nominees.
Anybody else have? I agree
got
there.
Mudbound.
Mudbound.
I got Mudbound. A lot of people were talking about how Dee Reese hasn't been nominated for Best Director. And again, like you said, because it's not shown, Mudbound isn't getting that much love in a lot of places. I can see them giving an adapted screenplay for this to give Dee Reese her Oscar.
Yeah. Everybody see Mudbound?
Do you think the hype on Mudbound being kind of slow burn kind of hurts it? Because I feel like that's been a slower film to pick up.
Well, one of the things that people have talked about is just sort of the resistance with the Netflix
Yeah, I
model.
think Netflix has
and
been what's crippled it. People don't think of it as a movie; they think of it as a Netflix movie.
Right, and that sort of happened. That's, I think, changing because we have seen Mudbound at least get some nominations, and I think over the next couple of years, they're just going to have to get over it because the way movies are distributed is changing, and it's going to continue to change. I am excited because Get Out was represented here. Jordan Peele got a nomination. Get Out got a nomination. It was nominated Best Actor nomination.
Kaluuya,
Yes. All very well deserved. This is, as I have mentioned in a number of occasions, my favorite movie of the year. And I think all of this is incredibly well deserved. Happy to see that happen. Also, some people were wondering, would Lady Bird be represented there? Yes, both Greta Gerwig and the film nominated.
Yeah, Get
And
Out.
Saoirse Ronan.
Get Out actually did something which is rare. It's very rare that a Best Picture nominee was released before the previous year's Oscar ceremony. So Get Out came out before last year's Oscars. The last time this happened was back in 2000 with Aaron Brockovich, which came out right before the Oscars in that year. So not very often. Silence of the Lambs did it. Get Out's done it. Aaron Brockovich. But it's very rare that a movie has that kind of staying power. And then, Jordan Peele, only the 5th African American to be nominated for Best Director, but it's happened 4 times in the last 10 years. So I think Oscar's showing some progress on that front, recognizing African American directors. And Greta Gerwig, 5th woman nominated for Best Director, the first since Catherine Bigelow won for The Hurt Locker almost 10 years ago.
Also,
10
I think I
years.
read for Jordan
for Point
Peele,
Break.
it's like the 3rd time in history I think someone's won or been nominated for Best Picture, Best Director, and Screenplay on
I
their
like
first
the way you're secreting it.
first feature. Secreting it?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You're like putting the intention in the universe. He
should
won.
win 1 out of the 3.
Those are my 2 favorite films
definitely.
of the year, Get Out and Lady Bird,
It's
so I'm pretty
staying
happy.
power. Like Dan said, it has staying power. Came out in February. This movie has been talked about non-stop all the way through the year, getting into award season. Where does Get Out fall? Where does Jordan Peele fall? Where does Daniel Kaluuya fall? Where does the screenplay fall? Constantly, it's always in the award talk. And it was like, it's going to be in the Oscar nominations. The fact that it's Best Picture nom. Jordan Peele, no matter what happens, whether he wins or loses, he wins just for being nominated first go-round.
Yeah, first go around, and also a genre film, such like and not even like a big epic, fantasy thing or a Bravehearty feeling historical war movie. This is a very specific, small budget genre film. Maybe the best episode of The Twilight Zone ever put out with an Oscar nom, which is very cool.
Jordan Peele working on The Twilight Zone. What's cool about that too is that we're seeing comedy represented, we're seeing horror represented, comic book movie is represented. So I do think that to some degree the Academy is catching up a little bit. Spencer, did you have more things to say? I get excited when Spencer has things
About
to
what?
say. I don't know, whatever.
You know what annoys me is when you have an old jar of mustard and when you shake it and the mustard water comes
Denzel
out.
Washington.
Okay.
No,
Oscars,
fine.
right?
Denzel Washington came out of nowhere for Roman J. Israel. Now, there hasn't been, I have seen this movie. It's an okay movie with a great performance. Denzel is an amazing actor. But there hasn't been a lot of talk around this performance to date. So was this a surprise to you guys?
Well, there was the name that wasn't there, I think.
Oh, yeah, made everybody surprised.
James
that was
Franco.
the
Yeah.
surprise, which is that there was all the talk is James Franco going to be nominated? You talked about the voting windows with this whole controversy don't quite line up as far as the timelines. I think the Golden Globes was right before the Oscars, so I don't know how much of what happened laid into. I think it was that Franco was kind of a fringe contender, and Denzel Washington is an Academy favorite.
Yeah.
The Academy loves to nominate him. He's won 2 Oscars. He was nominated last year, and I think that The Disaster Artist is maybe not for everybody. Plus, the stuff around Franco, I'm sure, was not.
Sure.
Oh yeah,
So
that
just
definitely-
to-
Even if that hadn't come out, I don't know. Disaster Artist is great, and I guess don't at me. But at the end of the day, is it really an Academy Award winning performance, or is it just James Franco
Mocking Tommy
doing
Wiseau.
a funny voice with his friends?
I
You
don't-
can do that really well, but
He gave
I
it
don't
shades
agree.
of depth. I thought, if anyone, Dave Franco was the standout performance in that movie.
I can see that.
I feel like, so just to break down what Dan was just saying. So over the last, I believe, 6 years, the winner in that category at the Golden Globes has been nominated for an Academy Award. So this is breaking a pattern, one. But the day that the stories about Franco broke, there was only less than 48 hours to go until nominations.
Yeah, but everyone
voting
saves
was
it for the
ended.
last minute.
They may have saved it for last.
sure.
We'll never know. It may have had an impact. It may not have had an impact. It could be just what you're saying. Like, people are like, I don't know. He's just kind of doing a Saturday Night Live sketch. I don't happen to agree with that. I think it's a really great performance, and I think it's a really great film, well-constructed film that works better almost than it has a right to. But hey, that's one woman's opinion.
But
and
it's also
she's
a comedic
not a member of the
performance.
Academy.
How many times has a comedic performance been overlooked? by
Kevin
the Academy?
Kline.
true.
I'm not saying it never
the
happens,
exception.
but it seems there's often a very strong comedic performance that
The Oscar
come
doesn't
Oscar
care.
day, people are like, I can't believe that X so and so didn't
Yeah.
get nominated. And it's like, well, because it's
Because
not
it's
that
comedy.
it never
It's comedic
happens,
performance.
but it's tough. Comedic performances are a tough sell for the Oscars. I think there's a lot of factors that probably played into Franco not getting nominated.
Probably a number of factors. And again, we're not talking about here, we're specifically just talking about the nominations and the performance. We're not talking about anything else to do with that at this point. And whether they're related, that's a different topic. That, like, should people be cut out of nominations if those things come forward, I think is a different topic that we can dig into perhaps at another time. Exciting that The Big Sick got nominated for Best Screenplay. Sad it didn't get nominated for anything else. I love this movie, but I'm glad that it's there.
Holly Hunter.
Man.
The one
Yeah,
that
again-
I think
Yeah.
I was expecting. Leslie Manville is a surprise for Phantom Thread for me, and to see Holly Hunter not get nominated. Again, early buzz had her as a lock, and then just kind of lost steam.
It's
toward
the
end.
anti-comedy bias. You know, you have to. They did all they could by putting, people in comas and having tears and stuff like that. But the Academy was like, nope, too funny,
And even
too,
bringing in Ray
too
Romano.
charming.
They brought in Ray Romano.
They
Well,
tried
that
so
was-
Everybody
hard.
loves Raymond.
Everybody
Raymond.
loves Raymond. But much love to Kumail Nanjiani and Emily K. Gordon for that. You know,
Yeah.
be able to have that because it's based. They sat down together, penned this. We're like, it possibly won't work.
Did you see him on Twitter? There was a headline. Did you see this? There was a headline that was basically like, Kumail Nanjiani talks about the inspiration for his movie The Big
Oh,
Sick
yeah,
and
he
his
made
wife.
sure he replied,
and he's
her
like,
name is-
here's her name.
Yep, I
and
saw
she
that.
co-wrote it. It's not just inspired by her. I was like, ooh, yes,
Yeah,
Kumail.
it's like, but it goes again to that comedic thing because it's like, how serious do we take comedy? Anything with a comedic element in the Academy.
Yeah.
SAG Awards, yes, it's your peers. Golden Globes, Hollywood Foreign Press.
Yeah.
Academy, it needs to be dramatic and
Yeah.
serious.
Well, I think
Yeah, the Academy seems to think that they reward comedy in the writing category because they seem to think that it only takes
wrote it
talent
well.
to write a comedy and not do anything else.
or
in
they're
a
like,
comedy.
Boss
Spencer?
Baby had some laughs, animated
Dear
feature.
God,
Yeah.
that's another
Oscar
one. Like,
nominated
how?
Boss Baby.
Yeah.
Well, we could talk about Boss Baby if you want.
Oh, we'll talk about Boss Baby.
Okay.
You mean
Okay.
Best
Wait,
Picture
right now?
knob
Best
snub?
Picture
Well,
nominated.
I've always been confused for Best Animated Film. Are you rewarding the film as a movie, or are you rewarding the animation in it? Because Boss Baby had some really trippy, cool animated sequences because the kid's insane and his brain is melting
Yeah.
through the entire time. So like the animation style will completely shift to like a 2D ninja sequence. Then it'll go back to like Pixar Boss Baby. Then it'll go like LSD Yellow Submarine
You
style.
continue to sell me on this movie.
Yeah, it's
You haven't watched it yet?
so weird.
It's on Netflix.
Spencer Gilbert, ladies and gentlemen, advocate for the
So
Boss
yeah,
Baby.
it's not a great movie going experience, but the animation, yeah, it was one of the better animated films. So what does best animated film really mean?
But Lego Batman wasn't even nominated, but Boss Baby was.
Yeah,
well, that's the thing. Is like,
exactly.
is it animation? Is it animation quality? Because
But Lego Batman's animation, if that's what it is.
Lego
Lego Batman's
Batman was
animation was crazy.
amazing.
Like,
Sure.
it had so much insane. Like, if that's what you're going for, I would say Lego Batman had a much higher...
But I would
it's
say-
Lego. They hate Lego animated movies. This is the Lego Batman didn't get nominated,
or
and
just
Lego
comic
movie
book-
didn't get nominated.
Just comic book movies because they don't get nominated as a direct best picture, best actor, best actress. They'll get screenplay. They'll get They'll get visual effects and score and things like that. It's like they're overlooked. And again, Lego Batman not being nominated in Boss Baby, bruh. bro.
So let's look at that. Let's look at that field. It's the boss. Let's also be honest for a moment. I think that the members of the Academy do their level best to probably see most of the movies, but sometimes they've just heard of things. So the nominations in that
That's
field
the new tagline
are
for the Oscars. Sometimes they've just heard of
I just heard of it.
The Boss Baby, The Bread Man, Coco, which will win, Ferdinand, and Loving Vincent are all your nominees. And I almost think that they're just like, does it really matter after Coco? Because Coco's going to win.
Well, they just want John Cena at the Oscars. That's
Yeah,
it.
Yeah.
Ferdinand. Yeah, they just want John Cena, and that sucks. The animated feature category always feels to me like, congratulations, Disney, and then I don't know. Here's Breadman to make ourselves feel kind of snooty and like real indie and hip. And but yeah, here's congratulations, Disney award.
Here's the irony, though, is they made a rule change to the Best Animated Feature after last year's show, and that it used to be that nominations were restricted only to the animation branch. So they were the only ones that picked the Best Animated Film categories, and this past year they broadened it out and said that anyone in the Academy can now nominate Best Animated Feature Film. And their hope was, because after Lego Movie didn't get nominated, their hope was there are two this year, but there are usually some lesser known animated films, and I think that their goal is like, we want to broaden that out a little bit.
Where's
I don't know
Your
if that's
Name
great
at?
for animation?
Yeah, Your Name.
So
came out
your
last
name
year,
came out.
technically.
Technically it came out. It
In the
wasn't.
US?
Yeah,
It's a 2016 release.
it's technically a
so yeah,
2016,
yeah.
which is a bummer. Thank you, Spencer. This is my moment that I'd like to encourage you all to see Your Name. It's a beautiful film. It's a film that deserves not only to be in the Best Animated Film category, but I would say beyond that. It's one of my favorite films of the year, and I would have put it on my list this year, but again, it's not technically... It came out here this year, but it's technically a 2016 release.
What is time, though, really?
What is time? And that's one of the questions that Your Name raises. I encourage you to see the film.
I'm just tired of time zones being gerrymandered against Your Name in favor of Coco.
I
don't know.
Hot take.
My
no-
cat's having surgery.
So let's talk about what's not there as well. The Post, no Spielberg nomination. Of course,
This
Murrell
movie
got a
must be
nomination.
so bad.
It's not, though.
Not
Just
bad.
good.
It's just
good.
it's
I
just
think
good.
everybody just expected because it was Spielberg, Hanks, and Streep. Everybody was like, it's an
could do no
Oscar
wrong.
movie.
Yeah.
It's an Oscar movie. And because it's not, everybody's like, how is it not? The field of the other movies.
Yeah,
I think
fine
it's-
Had to go against
with that.
It's a different. I think that you're looking at a time like this is the Academy adjusting to be a little more current and a little more relevant. It's a good movie. It's got a great message. The message is driven home pretty hard. And it's certainly not a subtle movie. It's Tom Hanks and Meryl Streep. When are they bad? But also, there are more exciting films to talk about this year. And whether the Oscars matter or awards matter, a lot of people are like, you won the game of life just that you get to do this, which I agree with. Why do you need awards on top of it?
No, we need to find what the best art is.
Yeah.
Which art is better
Which
than the
art
other
is
art?
better than the
Who
other
did
art?
the gooder
But you
art?
know what they do that I am an advocate for is they do bring attention to films that people may have not otherwise
Yeah,
seen,
that's
and
true.
they raise the box office. There's good things that these do for the industry.
I mean, Meryl Streep did a slightly under James Franco par funny voice character in The Post for me, so I'm not.
Still nominated.
Yeah.
Still nominated.
21st
Because it's
acting
Meryl
nomination.
Streep.
I mean, yeah, it's Streep.
It's
Meryl
automatic.
Streep's contract for movies say, I will play this role. My Oscar nomination better be there.
Yeah.
No Martin McDonagh for Three Billboards. Now, Three Billboards has been like on a pretty hot streak, and it's still very represented here, but no Martin McDonagh
As a director?
as a
As
director.
a director, yeah.
I don't know who I would. I mean, it was
look at
surprising
that
to me that he
field.
wasn't included. But looking at those nominees, I can't say that I would be like, I'm going to pull that person out of the race. I just think there were a lot of great directing nominees. You know,
It had to
It's
come
just
down
odd.
to a
It's just
split vote.
always
Yeah.
but it's always a weird thing to me that a film, and whether I agree or not in this particular case, gets several nominations, and then it's like, but it made itself. So these are the nominees for Best Director: Christopher Nolan for Dunkirk, Jordan Peele for Get Out, Greta Gerwig for Lady Bird, Paul Thomas Anderson for Phantom Thread. I have to read us a tweet from Roxy now, and Guillermo del Toro for The Shape of Water. So our own Roxy Stryer cannot be here today. However, I did want her point of view represented because here it is. Bummed that The Big Sick, one of my top 5 of the year, was not nominated. Bummed that Wonder Woman, the #1 most important films of the decade, was shut out. Bummed that Phantom Thread, a completely mediocre film, was nominated for Best Picture. Bummed that Michelle Williams got snubbed. I love Roxy so freaking much. So when she comes here on Thursday, we're going to talk about that because I love that perspective. I think it's I don't happen to agree. I
disagree
liked
with it fundamentally.
the Phantom Thread. It's a very well-made film. However, I love that perspective, and I do think that it represents probably a portion of the audience that just doesn't kind of agree generally with where the Academy Awards goes.
But Wonder Woman is a comic book film. That's the only problem. And I think, again,
I'm not saying it needed to be nominated for Academy Award, by the way. I'm actually not.
I'm just saying, but a lot of people went Wonder Woman, Logan should be nominated themselves for awards. It's a comic book film, and we know the Academy doesn't really go there. And people will say, well, Heath Ledger won one for The Dark Knight. He won it posthumously. Had he not passed, would he have won it?
Probably not.
Probably.
might
That was a
have,
pretty
but-
amazing
but
performance.
But at
amazing
that time, people
performance.
were still like, it's got Batman in it.
It's got Batman in it.
Wonder Woman for me, I love that movie. It was my first 4K DVD purchase. Blah, blah, blah.
Look at you balling.
But as once we hit the third act of Wonder Woman,
Oh, yeah.
I went, okay, this isn't gonna get like a Best Picture or a Best Director nom, or Best Screenplay.
Yeah, I'm not going to contest. Sorry.
I thought the cinematography great. Chris Pine maybe a Best Supporting. I know Gal isn't your favorite performance, Spencer, but I loved it.
Good as Wonder Woman.
Yeah, very good as Wonder Woman. Definitely better than Meryl Streep's Muppet voice in The Post.
Wow.
It was just a weird. It was a weird choice. It was a weird choice. And it bothered me the whole movie.
It's based on a real person. She
Yeah.
might.
Yeah.
I know,
Real
but it
person
just
sounds like a Muppet.
But it just bothered me. It just bothered me.
If Meryl
The whole
Streep
movie.
sounded like a Muppet, then Katharine Graham sounded like a GD Muppet show.
I think that
gosh darn
we're
Muppet.
we're shitting.
you know.
We're shitting a little too much on the Post. We'll talk about that in a minute.
We really should be shitting on Roxy's tweet. Here's the thing about Roxy's tweet.
No,
Phantom
that's
Thread
not
is a
why.
genius film.
I
and
disagree
anyone-
with her assessment
okay.
of Phantom Thread. I don't think it's
All right,
mediocre.
goddamn
and,
it.
And I agree with her that culturally Wonder Woman is an incredibly important film. But again, looking at the nominees themselves, was it artistically, in my opinion, was it artistically meritorious of nominations amongst this competition? I personally would not agree with that. I would not take anyone out and put Wonder Woman into really any of these categories, but that doesn't make it not important film.
Wait, hang on one second. I want to just because Roxy isn't here,
talking about
and
Wonder
I
Woman,
want to
the men are
clarify. Yeah, exactly. Shut the fuck up, vagina. Oh, I love you. I really do. Because you speak the truth with humor, and that's what the fool is supposed to do. The fool in Shakespeare, which is a
You're
whole
not
archetype.
relevant and you're a fool.
No, it's not the fool.
And I talk like a Muppet.
No, it's actually a very high level. The comedian is meant to tell the truth with humor because that's how people can hear it. Okay, back to this thread, the Phantom Thread. This is my point about that tweet. What I loved about it, because I actually don't agree either. I wouldn't necessarily nominate Wonder Woman for Academy Awards, and The Phantom Thread is an incredibly well-made movie, though not my favorite of the year. That's just subjective. But the point is, when the Academy Awards first started, there were two categories, and one was basically populist films, and one was I guess those with greater aesthetic, artistic merit. And is there something to the idea that we lost something by getting rid of that?
Maybe, yeah. If we had a People's Choice Award Oscar.
It's called the People's
No,
Choice
but
Award.
you get the Oscar for the most thumbs up on the YouTube trailer or whatever it is that they just find out to decide. Because they are different. That's why it's weird to compare art in general, because they serve different purposes. Wonder Woman's there to entertain you and to inspire you, whereas Phantom Thread's to get you to question your relationship and your life and whether you're being poisoned and the meaning of art. And they're at different names. One is there to make you uncomfortable, and one is there to reaffirm the best things about us. So it's a little bit oil and water, and if you want, I don't know how you would determine it's kind of an insult to put it in the for the dummies category, but I'd be into that.
Here's a question. They said
And
it
we
was
call it
potential-
for the dummies.
For it's the For the Dummies Award. They said there was potentially could have been 10 nominees for Best Picture. Here we have 9. Who would have been the 10th? Because I, Tanya's not there, the Big Six not there, Wonder Woman's not there.
Who do you put in?
God, thanks for putting me on the spot. I, Tanya.
Hi, Tanya.
I, Tanya.
I would put the Florida Project, which I thought was not snub. I don't know if it was snubbed or not, but it was one of my favorite movies of the whole year, and I thought was Oscar bait. It's Moonlight. It's from a kid's perspective. It deals with poverty. It's got these amazing naturalistic performances. It's a beautiful looking movie. I was shocked that didn't get more recognition.
Yeah, it didn't get much at all.
Yeah.
I think it only got Best Supporting Actor and Willem Dafoe.
Yeah, which is a
Yeah.
shame. See that movie if you haven't. And it made Florida beautiful. Like, come on.
But this isn't a year like, where it's like back in the late 90s, early 2000s, where it's like Chocolat. It's like you look at the best pictures and it's like, what the hell is that doing?
I
there?
saw
Like,
chocolate on mushrooms and it was amazing.
I'm sure it was.
I'm sure you did.
I'm sure it won the Shroomies that year. It probably swept.
By the way, that's how we will be watching Boss Baby.
Oh, yes.
Wait, I just wanted
okay. I
everybody to
don't
pay attention to
recognize
the way Ross' face lit up with Joe saying that. I was like, oh, yes, yes.
Yes.
I love shrooms.
Yes. Drugs. I'm kidding.
Drugs.
So Billy is now doing
And you get a
this.
shroom.
And
You get a shroom.
We do not advocate drug use. We do not advocate
The
drug
award
use.
show you. Whoa.
I'm just,
You don't remember.
that was my
The award
excitement
show,
to
you
hang out with
melt.
Joe. That was me expressing, and just so we're clear, my legitimate, genuine love for Joe Starr, who I think is amazing.
We don't like each
Are
other.
we back? Are we looping back to this?
Everybody hates each
Bring it
other.
back with-
Everyone hates each other. They're chained there with mushrooms. Who would you put in? What movie?
What?
Number 10.
I Tanya would have been my
Who'd
pick.
you put?
I think that I, Tanya probably would have been the 10th nominee.
No Big Sick?
I would have put the
yeah.
Big Sick in there, but I think if we're talking about what probably would have been the 10th nominee, it probably would have been I, Tanya. That would be my guess, just from its support in other categories, or the Big Sick. Yeah, it's so weird how it's not a set number. It can be 7, it can be 8, it can be 9, it can be 10. It just depends on whatever their cutoff is. It's very strange.
Do you guys think it lessens the category the more they expand it?
No.
Harmoniously, you said it.
No, it's more room for films to. That's the only reason that these things matter at all is to get attention on movies. That's it.
But also, I
So-
think that this year had like an overabundance of really good movies, whereas sometimes you only need 5 or 6.
But isn't that how it goes? Like you don't have to.
Yeah, they don't have
yeah.
to.
So like if
they didn't even do 10 this time, so
Yeah.
you don't always have to do it.
Right, you don't have to, but it's like if you go 9, you might as well just go with 10.
Full 10.
You might. I feel like if you do 9, just look. What's one more?
Yeah.
can we
It's
talk
the
about
donut rule.
Yeah.
What's
Wait,
one
what?
more? What's one more donut? You
Well,
ate
no,
nine
no,
donuts.
You
like
ate
the
9,
baker's
might as
dozen.
well eat
You
10.
eat 10 donuts.
That's gonna be on our Boss Baby viewing.
Yeah.
10 donuts and Boss Baby. Christopher Plummer got nominated for All the Money in the
Of
World.
course he did.
That's the one that I would take someone. That's the one category that I look at that I would say I would take that. Not that Christopher Plummer was bad; he was good, but I would take Christopher Plummer out, and personally, I would put Michael Stuhlbarg in there.
Yeah,
for
me
Call by Your
too.
Name. That's the one category that I look at where I would say I would take somebody
Yeah, he
out
was
of
great.
that category and put somebody else in.
Plus, Michael Stuhlbarg, we need an MVP award. Like, he just needs to get a general award for what he brought to movies this year because he was in everything great and he was great in all of it. But, you know, I guess Christopher Plummer wins for showing up in the last 20
Quickly.
and then, like, doing a good job.
People
very
they were
quickly.
doing the reshoots and made the trailers. He was already nominated.
Yeah.
He was already the movie hadn't even come out. They was like Christopher Plummer. You were like, what?
It's crazy on a daily basis finding out more and more how much people really hated Kevin Spacey. Like,
That's how much
really,
it
really,
has-
we're just like, oh, okay, like Christopher Plummer, you're in, you're nominated. I hate that man.
We hate him so
Well, they
much.
hated
Rightfully
Kevin
so.
Spacey when it was time to hate Kevin Spacey.
Yes.
They loved Kevin Spacey
Well,
until
it was
some
time-
people found
yeah.
out what he was up to, and then they hated Kevin.
Well,
Spacey.
quietly, everyone was like, that jerk.
Have you heard about Spacey? No.
Yeah, but isn't that like, don't you think
this
that's
character?
90% of the industry?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's how I found out everyone didn't like me.
We love Joe. We love Joe. We love Joe
No,
Starr.
I think-
More Joe Starr.
No,
More Joe
no,
Starr.
no,
More Joe Starr. More Joe Starr.
I think
Yeah.
Rockwell gets this.
Who gets to make that rule? I don't know. Nobody does. But more Joe Starr in the comments. More Joe Starr. We love him.
Yeah, Sam Rockwell gets this. This is Sam Rockwell's for sure.
I wrote this paper on the fool's role in Shakespeare, and I literally went down a whole rabbit hole of thinking about that. Okay, sorry. Actor in a supporting role goes to Willem Dafoe for The Florida Project, as mentioned, Woody Harrelson for 3 Billboards, Richard Jenkins for The Shape of Water, Christopher Plummer, as mentioned, and Sam Rockwell. So Good luck, Christopher Plummer. You're a legend already.
Does Sam Rockwell get it though? Because the Three Billboards discussion is now breaking out. Like when the Golden Globes happened, for example, there were criticisms about Three Billboards that I had not read, and I've now read them. There's the backlash of just like, I didn't like that movie as much as people say it's good. Like that's
normal.
every year.
The normal.
But there are some criticisms of Three Billboards and Sam Rockwell's character in particular that I kind of tuned into after I heard about it on the Golden Globes. I hear those criticisms. I understand them. I have my own thoughts on them, things that I kind of disagree with about those. But I do wonder, now that conversation is coming more into the forefront, is that going to kind of hurt his chances because people have some issues with that character in that movie? I don't know, but supporting categories, that's the kind of thing where like sentimental favorites can win, and that's where I could see possibly Willem Dafoe snaking in and kind of like, not snaking in because he was great in Florida Project, but I wonder if the conversation around Three Billboards is going
What
to
about
now.
Richard Jenkins?
He's good.
I want every good thing to happen.
But it's
for
just
Richard
a comedic
Jenkins.
performance. Yeah.
I don't know that he'll win this, but I would I don't know. He just seems like a guy you just want to hug and be like, hey man, everything's gonna be cool, Richard Jenkins. And he's like, I know, and kind of sighs into his coffee. I think Rockwell gets this just because it's kind of left field and unexpected, and I don't know.
Well, how about Willem Dafoe, keep standing for Florida Project, is for once not playing a creepy, evil, conniving villain, and like to see him as just kind of like a sunburnt, weathered, like nice, paternal, good guy is shocking, and like, oh, I didn't know you could cast Willem Dafoe in that.
He could be nice.
He can be nice and like a guy you like want hanging around and like helping raise your kids. Like that was really cool. It was nice to see.
He's great in that movie, and he is the heart of the movie.
Yes.
I would love to see Willem Dafoe win again, just so more people would see the Florida. They'd go, what movie did he win for? Nominated isn't quite enough probably to get eyeballs on the Florida Project, but if he wins, I feel like the curiosity factor would go up, and I'd like to see more people see that film. But I loved Richard Jenkins in The Shape of Water.
Who was he in The Shape of Water? Remind me.
He was his neighbor. The
Oh
neighbor.
yeah, he was great.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, sure.
I love you.
Jay, do you have a favorite?
Sam Rockwell.
All right.
I got to go Sam Rockwell.
He has all the
because
heat.
The character, it helps because of where it's supposed to be in Ebbing, Missouri. So you're like, yeah, that's the type of cop he would be. That's the type of person he would be. And it's like, okay, I get the role and the way he's playing and winning everything else. Why not just go ahead and go to almost a sweep?
I just think people like
We're
Sam
going to have
Rockwell.
to wrap it up pretty quickly here. I'm going to quickly shout out the other categories to just, you guys, stream of consciousness. What are your thoughts? And then we have to just touch on the fact that
So different
Kobe's
from the rest of the show,
nominated
huh?
for, in no way at all. Actress in a supporting role, Mary J. Blige for Mudbound, Allison Janney for I, Tonya, who's winning everything right now, Leslie Manville for Phantom Thread. Sorry.
You just got to take
She was good.
She was great. I just thought of Roxy's tweet.
Mediocre.
I just like that Phantom Thread sounds like a really good Silver Age comic book character. Phantom Thread.
No, she was really great in that movie. She was wonderful. Laurie Metcalf, come on, for Lady Bird. God, I loved her in that performance. That's my favorite of the year. Octavia Spencer for The Shape of Water. We just did actor in a supporting role, original song.
Documentary Icarus.
Icarus.
Good doc.
Original song is. What do you think? What do you think? Is it going to be Coco or is it going to be The Greatest Showman?
I think it's going to be The Greatest Showman.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be Coco.
I think it's going to be The
it's
Greatest
Coco
Showman.
because Coco didn't get the Golden Globe.
Coco is Remember Me, and then
Yeah.
The Greatest Showman is This Is Me. There are other things nominated in that category, but it doesn't matter because it's going to be one of those two.
The Greatest Showman is a populist hit. The Fox thought that they had a bomb. They didn't really market that for nominations at all. That's the only one that it got, and I think that's going to be where Oscar tips their hat, no pun intended, to the population and the fact that it is a massive hit. And I think that This Is Me is going to take that.
Same
I
guys
think
wrote
so,
the music
too.
for La La Land and The Greatest Showman. They're on a roll.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I think it's going to be Greatest Showman 2. Actor in a leading role, Timothy Chalamet, Call Me By Your Name, Daniel Day-Lewis, Phantom Thread, Daniel Kaluuya for Get Out, Gary Oldman, Darkest Hour, Denzel Washington.
Everybody
for
saying,
Roman
oh,
J.
3, we know who gets this.
Gary-
1, 2, 3, Gary Oldman.
Oldman.
Oh.
Timothy Chalamet, though, the youngest Best Actor nominee since 1943. Pretty crazy.
But Gary Oldman's not only it was a great performance, but he's going to get this is a career win. He's winning all of the
This is
things.
Gary
You don't
Oldman.
think DDL for the final role?
No.
send off.
He's gotten 3
I
already.
feel
They
sorry
don't
for
want to.
Kaluuya.
And also-
Kaluuya just being nominated is dope, but he just been like, I'm going to these award shows, and I know I'm not winning.
Daniel Day-Lewis is back in Italy making shoes at this point. Like, he won't do he doesn't care about any of this crap. I think Gary Oldman very obviously does. He's been campaigning hard for a number of years. He wants that Oscar.
I would have been frustrated if I'd be frustrated if DDL won, because then it would feel like a furniture store announcing they were closing, and then you go spend money on their sale, and then they stay open. He's like, I'm retiring, guys. I better get this Oscar. Now I'm back in. I don't know. It would feel cheap and weird.
What?
Huh? It would feel weird. The weight of him being like, I'm retiring.
Right.
Yeah.
I just think that would be
I don't think they
cheap
would win.
win for
I don't think the
Oscar.
win would
But that
be
was
that
assuming
good.
that he would keep acting afterwards, like the fake furniture store closing.
He's not done.
Yeah.
You don't think he's done?
It's in his blood.
Okay.
All right.
I don't think he's
I have
done.
to pee, so let's land on Gary Oldman. Actress, that's how people vote, people. That's how it's done. I have to pee, Gary Oldman, check a box. Actress in a leading role, Sally Hawkins for The Shape of Water, Frances McDormand, who's again winning all the things for 3 Billboards, Margot Robbie for I, Tonya, Saoirse Ronan for Lady Bird. Although Lady Bird, she did win for comedy, Saoirse, at the Golden Globes, but whatever. Meryl Streep for The Post, which, Joe, can you do a quick impression?
Oh, Streep probably wins this.
No, she won't.
no,
she
not a
will
chance.
not.
No, she
No,
won't. It's
not a
Frances
chance.
McDormand, but
I know.
I
It's
want to hear
Frances
your
McDormand.
Meryl in The Post.
I know. I'm the Post.
I'm the Post. It's me, the Post.
Like the Swedish chef.
Wait, did you close your eyes?
Make believe.
And you can work out the Post.
Hey, Nixon. Did you watch A Muppet Christmas Carol by mistake?
Wait. Oh God. Michael Caine was so good in The Post, though.
Oh, yeah, no. Oh,
Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
yeah. Somebody played a screener prank on you. Joe.
But you know what I like about
Right
The
along,
Post?
we're gonna bury Rich Nixon.
It has like a Marvel Easter egg at the end of it when it's like tipping its hat to Watergate and all the president's men, which I think is pretty fun about that movie. And 2, it's like, I think about the position that she was in, at least as depicted in this film. What a shitty position to be in. You have to take over. You're the first CEO lady. You never thought you're of a company of this nature, of this paper of this size. You never thought you were going to be in this position. And you're like faced with the fact that you're going public. You could tank your company,
Sure.
the company that your family built, if you make the wrong move. And here you have all the weight of the White House pressuring you not to publish these Pentagon papers. And here you have journalistic integrity. What do you do? I think that's a great illustration of A, dramatic tension, and B, like the state of our times, which is the point. Spielberg, we get it. But that's the cool thing about the movie, since nobody's going to see it, since we've shat on it this entire
But
time.
on the other hand, in a movie like The Shape of Water, you're in love with a fish, but how you gonna do it?
Because
How
it's
you gonna do it?
it's
Say it again. Susan. How you gonna do
They-
it?
Do it.
Steaks!
okay. I just want to say,
Simplistic take on that movie you could possibly imagine.
Billy,
Joke.
Billy saw that I was going to actually explain the anatomy, which the film does address, by the way, and he went like this.
Don't do it. Please,
Just
God, don't do
frickin'
it. Please,
end
God.
it. End it. Kobe Bryant's nominated for an Oscar.
Yeah.
Best animated. Yeah.
Best animated short film. Dear Basketball.
Basketball.
He really
Oscar
didn't do
nominee,
anything.
Wow.
Kobe Bryant. And Roger Deakins is nominated for his 14th
Yes.
Oscar for
Please
Best
give it to him.
Cinematography. And by God, if he doesn't win this year, then something's wrong.
Give
Yes.
Blade Runner all the
Roger
technical
Deak-
awards.
It's so sad. Blade Runner, the final thing we'll say is that Blade Runner got shut out of everything but technical awards. So if Roger Deakins doesn't at the very least win this year, I will be really upset, but that's the extent of what I'll do, because
You'll be watching Boss Baby.
I don't have any other. I'll be watching Boss Baby. That's what we're gonna live stream.
Yep.
Yeah. Thank you guys. I know somebody had asked us to talk about the technical categories. We weren't able to get to it today, but we will do lead up stories and talks and chats as we head into Oscar season. So let us know what you want us to talk about. And then Joe and I will be live streaming, I assume, like the night before
Yeah,
the Academy
Boss
or
Baby.
on it. Like we want to go against the Academy Awards.
Don't forget to plug things.
Oh, gonna plug things. Thank you.
Welcome.
You're good at my job.
That is my one job at this table. Is to just say that at the end.
No, it's good because I definitely would have forgotten. Guess what you guys should watch? The Get Out honest trailer is out today. They made an honest trailer of my favorite movie. I haven't seen it yet.
We're very complimentary.
Okay, great.
Most
There's
important thing that happened to get out today.
No, it's just like, what is there to
He
say?
sounded nervous. He was like, "We're very complimentary."
No, it's more depressed. Like, it's not that funny. But watch it.
It's interesting. It's a trailer that'll make you go, huh.
Okay. Yeah,
right.
I remember that. Yeah.
There's a reason we didn't do it on our own volition, and that the fan vote is the reason we're doing it, because it was a very difficult trailer to, how do you crack that one?
Yeah.
Find out right now.
Find out in the honest trailer
Find out
commentary,
now.
which you can watch on Screen Junkies News. You'll find out how they cracked it. Charting with Dan was out yesterday, one of our favorites of the week. Get to talk about that box office.
The movie that we talked about is the per screen winner from Lebanon, The Insult, nominated for Best Foreign Film today. So, what do you know?
What do you know? We're going to go
figure.
see The Insult. We have SJ2, which is our new show.
Our new channel.
Give it up, SJ2.
SJ2, it's in the afternoons. SJU, tomorrow we are going to have two of the stars and creators of Comedy Central's corporate. I'm not telling you who it is because that's going to be a surprise when you tune in and you get to meet them tomorrow, but it's going to be very exciting.
It's a funny show. You should be watching
It
it.
means, I think first 4 episodes are on ComedyCentral.com. Check it out.
Yeah, you should check it out. Joe's going to be here. Spencer's going to be here. We don't know who else will be here. That'll be a mystery too. We'll see you tomorrow, maybe. They will.